guys, welcome to Show Up Stand Out. My guest today, Richard Fletcher, is an online business coach. We are going to talk about a lot of things that you might relate, especially if you feel forced into doing marketing the traditional way. But before we go into the meat and potatoes of our show, Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here, Juliet.
Me too, because actually I was following Richard from about 2017. And, I kind of kept an eye on what he was doing. I was part of his group. And I'm so glad that life has brought us back together now onto this show. And we can share some of the really cool stuff. Like, first of all, guys, prepare, like if you like when people talk straight, and there's no like all this forced strategies, anything. I think Richard is the perfect guest because he just kind of talks about things the way they are. Richard, what kind of coach are you? Who do you help? Just before we start chatting, so people know your background.
So I do a few things. I mean, I've just launched last week a copywriting course, but specifically what I really do is I help coaches to get more leads and clients by posting on their Facebook personal feed. So essentially the strategy is super simple. There's a lot of people trying to do this right now, but doing it well is the key. So you add your ideal client as a friend, and obviously that means you need to know who your ideal client is, which is a whole other conversation, which will be a lot longer than this podcast. Then you put out the right kind of content to those people, and they're like, I need some of this, whether it's fitness, business, spirituality, whatever. Then they end up in your messenger inbox. Be like, oh, can you help me with my problem? Or tell me more about your course, whatever. And then you use a method I call filter and convert, which is you filter out the ones who've got no money, who you just don't like as people, who you're like, if I had to spend even 10 minutes in a room with this person, I would probably want to jump off a bridge. Well, I don't work with those people. I only work with people I want to spend time with. And then I convert the rest. That's literally my entire system. So I've got a program that teaches people how to do that. And that's pretty much all I do for a living, to be honest.
This is very similar to what I teach. Very similar. Personal profile, the best place to connect. And then, you show up, you post things, people want to know more. And then, so you said a couple of things there. And one of the things that very, very important is that you said that people come into your messenger box. While I am a big ambassador to, when you're connecting to people, acknowledge that they're real people. So don't just send them friend requests, send them a message, but I'm always against this, first message, a pitch, and, and I have an issue with an outreach in terms of outreach and pitch your services in general. So you were talking about people finding out about you. Now, what's your stance there with, actively kind of reaching out and looking for business with people?
Well, I don't do outreach anymore. I used to. In fact, I would have to scroll back through our conversation, but I think probably the reason you ended up in my group in the first place was probably because I did some sort of outreach on you. I probably messaged you and said, "Hey, Juliet, would you like to join my group?" Hopefully with slightly better copy than that.
No, because I would never join your group if you just invited me to your group. I think you posted something and I saw you and I was like, wow, this guy has it. Because I remember there was so much humor. And maybe you reached out after that.
Yeah, let's see. I did send you a message to my group. Let's see, right here it says, "Hey, Richard, thank you for your message. I normally ignore messages from people where they push groups on me before connecting previously." Smiley face. Did you put the smiley face in because you were like, I don't want to sound too rude.
You got me through the humor. I remember that.
I think you may be right about your group. What are the rules? So it's like I'll let you off because your message was better than the rest of them. So I'm not actually against, despite what I say, I don't do it myself anymore. I'm not against direct outreach. I'm just against bad direct outreach. And I don't do it myself anymore, not necessarily from a moral perspective, just because I find it really boring. Like, who wants to sit there sending 50, 100 messages a day to people going, "Excuse me, I have a new offer. Would you like to join my offer? Would you like to sign up for my thing? We could have a free call about it." No. And I'm just like, I just got to the point where I set up my group in June 2018, sorry. And I did that until March last year, so March 2019. And I got to the point where I noticed a change in Facebook in the way people were responding. Back in June, when I was sending the messages out, I would send 50 a day and I'd get 20 to 25 people saying yes, which is a pretty good conversion rate if I do say so myself. But by the time we got around to March, it was more like 10 people. Now, I know 10 people a day isn't terrible. It's still 300 a month in your group, which is no joke for free. But the amount of effort I was spending, not only that, I started considering, well, I'm getting a lot more if not abusive messages coming back, a lot more messages where people were not exactly happy that I'd sent them a message.
Pushbacks.
Yeah, I think part of the reason is people were copying what I was doing. Like, I'd not seen anyone else inviting people to groups in this way when I started doing it. But then I sent so many messages out to people that they started doing it. It was like, oh, I'm going to start doing this as well. And people would message me saying, hey, someone else is using your message, but they just put their name on it and invited them to their group instead. I'm like, I kind of took it as a compliment. I was like, I don't know whether to be pleased or annoyed by this. And more and more people did it to the point where instead of it being like a new kind of funky, slightly cheeky message where people were like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'll join your group. It was like, oh, you're using another one of those templates. You're one of those idiots. I'm like, no, I invented a template, honest. By then it's too late, you know? And I was like, I just got to the point where I just noticed a kind of general change in how people were. Like, it used to be okay to send these kind of messages, but now they're getting 10 of them a day from various people. And it's like, I didn't want to put myself in the bucket of annoying, clueless marketer spamming people. So I stopped doing it.
Actually,
so that's kind of where I am
fair.
on outreach now. And I think a lot of people, like when you do outreach, unless you send an absolutely brilliant message, and even then, I feel it just comes across as slightly desperate these days. And I don't know what your take is on that.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. In fact, I have a rule that, you know, I tap on the shoulder, I go away for a while. I don't invite people who I don't know, who haven't been following my posts to my group. And right now, right now, as we're recording this, I've closed my group because I felt like it was taking too much energy, and it was like a get together. I'd never need to have get togethers in my life, you know, unless there is real value. And I'm not talking about converting into my business, but I'm talking about actually having an exchange, a value exchange. So I stopped doing that. But I think what happened in my reply to you then was saying I normally don't do that, because there's a lot of people who are teaching these strategies that just send everybody messages, but they're forgetting that we're on Facebook, and even, you know, on LinkedIn, even it's annoying when somebody sends you a message and it's not, you know, it straight away goes into some sort of invitation, and they don't even find out whether you're even interested in this area of whatever they're inviting you.
Right. Well, what you just said was kind of, there's a way that someone could direct pitch me. I don't necessarily want to give people the formula, because now I feel like I'm going to open myself up to hundreds of pitches. But I don't hate pitches. Like, if someone came to me and said, I've got a deal that's going to be really good for you, and they actually showed me a deal that's really good, I'd be like, awesome. You know, this is what I've been looking for. Let's say I'm trying to grow my Instagram and I've no idea how to do it, and someone shows me, hey, I've got a deal on how to grow your Instagram, and it actually works. And I'm like, oh, this looks really good. This is what I've been looking for. I would be delighted. As opposed to all those people who are like, I've got a thing on how to grow your Instagram, and it turns out to be a unfollow bot. And I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. But the problem is that most pictures in your inbox are doing the kind of, I would thought, can I swear on your podcast, Juliet? Is that allowed?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I call it the throw shit against a wall technique. You throw as much shit against the wall and hope some of it sticks. So they'll message 100 people a day, often with an automated bot. Hey there, I noticed that you're in business. I'm in business too. It's nice to connect. By the way, I have a webinar on this, and here's a link to my website, and you can book a call with me if you want to talk about coaching. And it's like, that's not the way to kind of build any sort of trust. But if you actually, instead of sending a message to 100 people, what if you picked out 5 people in a day where you go, okay, this person would be ideal for my services, and you connected with them on LinkedIn or Facebook, and then you sent them a message. Like, if someone messaged me and basically stroked my ego a bit, and it was believable, like, we know we're all suckers for an ego stroking, aren't we? We all like to hear nice things, as long as we believe it's genuine. If someone came to me and was like, Richard, I've been following your stuff for a while. I really like how how you have a sense of humor, and your stuff just cuts through all the noise, and you explain things in a simple way that other people don't. Basically, the things I want to hear about myself. I'd be like, oh yeah, thanks, awesome. But I noticed this. I noticed you mentioned something about your Instagram, how you'd like to grow it. Or I noticed this that you mentioned in this post, and I actually help with this. And I don't want to be one of these annoying people with a cold pitch, but you actually mentioned this, and I help with this. So I helped someone just like you last year. There was John Smith, who's also an online marketer who does this. I took him from 500 followers, and he's now at 50,000. And he did it all organically without follow. I'm happy to tell you more if you want, but if you want to tell me to get lost and block me, I understand that too. If someone said that to me in that kind of way, like a normal human being, like if I was talking to a friend of mine, like if I was talking to my best mate, I'd be like, look, Stephen, I want to make a pitch on you or something, because I think this would really help you, but you can tell me to piss off if you want. because nobody wants a pitch, but I think this would really help if you want to hear it. And then he's going to say yes, and then I'll tell him. That's kind of how I would communicate with someone. But I go to them direct and go, okay, what is it that's unique about them? What can I say about them that's actually, specific to them? How can I give them an offer that's unique to them, as opposed to this scattergun, let's hope someone says yes, 1 in 1,000 people approach? I feel like you've got me ranting on a soapbox here, Julia.
No, I love it because I'm about to kind of add to that rant as well.
Yeah, please do.
I am so about treating people like human beings, because when somebody treats me like a bot, but they're a real person, but they are a robotic kind of, they have robotic communication, and they literally disrespect me straight away, I feel, by sending me a generic message. While you can still use some templates. For example, when I send somebody a friend request, when somebody sends me a friend request and I accept it, I immediately ask them why they connected, because I want to know the link. I want to know if we can collaborate. I want to also know their motives, because if I straight away see that they're going to be pitching me, because some people go straight into the pitch, might not be interested. It depends on how they do it, as you just said. But you have to treat people like human beings, and it takes so little to do your homework before you reach out to somebody, and to even see whether the vibe there, do you even like this person?
Right.
Go to their personal profile, and some of us have very optimized personal profiles where you can see everything you do. And so I'm laughing when I'm getting pitches from people who want they want to teach me online visibility, where this is exactly what I teach other people. And I'm saying, have you seen my profile? And they're like, where are you in your business? Have you seen my profile? Do you know what I'm doing?
Oh my God, I get these all the time. Someone's like, connects with me and goes, hi, Richard, it's nice to connect. What do you do? And I'm like, it literally says it on my profile.
Yeah.
You've lost me straight away. And then I look on their profile and they're like, organic marketing specialist coach. And I'm like, well, you're basically going to tell me to do exactly what you're doing, which is pitch me with some generic cut and paste. I don't want to be doing that. I mean, part of what people don't consider when they're trying to build up their business, like when you're trying to build up your business and you don't really have a business and you've got the odd client here and there, and maybe you've got a day job, all you think about is, how can I get enough clients? How can I get to that magic 10K a month, which is most people's magic number, isn't it? And then I can quit my horrible office job, and then I can do this full time and laptop on the beach and all that kind of stuff. But once you've been doing it a while and you start to go, actually working for myself from home is brilliant, but how do I want my day-to-day life to look? Do I want to be spending 2 hours every morning sending cut and paste messages to people? Or do I want to be doing other stuff? And I started thinking a bit like when I was sending all these messages to people out of the groups, is this how I want to live my life, for the rest of my life? Not really. What would I like to do? Well, excuse me, I'd like to put out content that really helps people. I'd like to put out content that's kind of stuff I would like to read. I'd like to put out stuff that would make me laugh, that would entertain me, not just, really dry, here's how to do this thing, here's how to get more leads and clients like everyone else. I'd like to do that. And then I'd like people who are just like me, or people who like that stuff, to then come to me and say, Richard, how do I sign up in your program? And then I thought, well, how would I like the sales process to be? Would I like someone to book a call with me and then me spend 90 minutes on that call pitching them, and then go through like 350 objections and really bully them to join the program? Or do I want it to feel like a dream where we talk for about 15, 20 minutes and they're like, oh my God, that sounds amazing, Richard. How do I sign up? And I send them a payment link and they pay immediately. None of this, you send them a link and then they disappear off for a day. And then they're like, oh, sorry, I got busy with some, miscellaneous non-specific stuff, but I'll pay later. And then they disappear off. No, I don't want those kind of people in my life. So it's about, well, how could I get myself to a point where I'm doing that? Well, I just started doing it. I started putting that content out there, adding the right kind of people. Actually, funny you mentioned about sending me a message saying, hey, Richard, why did you connect with me? I get people saying that to me, and very often I come back with, I'll be honest, the reason I connected with you is because I thought you could become an ideal client in the future, but I don't know right now. So I added you with the hope you'd see my content and maybe end up in my inbox. However, I understand if this offends you and you don't want to be seen as a lead, by all means, you can block me. And some people are like, oh my God, block. And some people are like, wow, I really respect your honesty. I thought that was what you were doing, but I wasn't expecting you to say it.
This is funny because, I think that for me, honesty always cuts through everything else. And usually, if you're honest with me about your intentions, if you're not trying to use any scripts or anything on me, if you talk to me like a real human being, whether I need it or not need it, it's going to be a still good conversation. We're probably going to stay connected. We might even collaborate. You know, there could be so many things. If I'm not going to become your ideal client, I will become your ideal referrer, because I will be so in love with the fact that you are just an authentic human being who treated me with respect in the first place. And I don't know about you, Richard, but I am someone who my first reaction is a pushback. And I think a lot of people are like that. My first reaction, because I'm a private person, I don't like being interrupted. Nobody does. But my first reaction is a pushback. And that's where the authentic versus copy paste, or even if you're writing it, but you're not putting you're not writing it like a human being. And as you said, it's like throwing the shit on the wall, or I always imagine like a big street of people and you come out with a loudspeaker and you start, your promotion. Yeah. How effective is that? Would you not just do a little bit, save your own time and dignity and the whole rejection that you're going to get from so many people, because you still feel rejection, even if you try and grow, thick skin to it. And just do a little bit of homework, pre-qualify, try and build some rapport, see if there is a genuine interest in what these people are looking for, what you're offering, and then go into the pitch. Or I loved how you kind of put the pitch that you can put out there. And if they're not happy with that, that's fine.
Honestly, some people do not like that at all. Like, they're like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." I'm like, okay, well, fair enough. See you later. If they don't like how I communicate with them in that way to start with, it's probably not going to get any better if they stay on my friend list. It's only going to get worse from here. So they might as well go and follow someone else, and that's okay. No, I don't have to be wrong, and they don't have to be wrong either. It's just a difference in taste and preferences, and it's okay. I'd rather kind of they went over here first. Now, one thing also from the Facebook algorithm, if you work harder up front to try and see, is this the kind of person I want to be adding as a friend? And the acid test for me is, would I sit in the pub with them? Well, maybe not so much these days, because I'm one day in the future when I can leave my house again. Would I be willing to sit in a pub one-on-one with this person, have a drink with them for like an hour or two, and have a chat about nothing to do with marketing, just life in general? That's a good barometer for, would I want someone to be on my friend list, or would I want someone to be in my program? And the more people I get like that on my friend list, the more they'll engage, and more they'll comment, and the more clients I'll get in the end. Not only that, you find that Facebook suggests people as friends in the suggested friends box who are just like your existing friends. So if you do a good job of adding the right people, Facebook then suggests more of them. If you add a bunch of like Bitcoin Forex spammers into your friend list, well, you'll get a lot more Forex trading spammers, and you'll get those kind of pictures in your inbox. I don't think it's a coincidence that since June last year, I got my friend list up to 5,000. And then I was like, I ran a tool called Friend Filter to actually do some analysis, which is actually quite good. And I think it still exists. I think you can still use it to do some analysis. And I found that only about 800 of them actually engaged with my post in the last 6 months. So I was like, well, what are the rest of them doing? So I ended up thinning my friend list down over the course of the next month from 5,000 to 2,000 people, which was a really boring activity.
Yes,
really boring.
I can imagine.
It was. I'm not gonna lie to anyone who's watching this or listening to this. It's really boring. It's not fun. But what you get to do is, I think a lot of people maybe they've tried to start various types of businesses, or they weren't sure who their ideal client was, and they've added all sorts of people who just aren't going to be interested in their content now. And rather than keep them around in a kind of scarcity, well, they could become a client one day, get rid of them and only have people who are going to be interested in your stuff, because it's really going to help your engagement. It also frees up room to add the kind of people who would be clients. And it just does so much good stuff. It feels like, when you clear out all the cupboards at home, and you
love clearing.
You take all this stuff I hate clearing out, but I like I like the bit after when you've cleared out and you're like, oh, why didn't I do this?
I hate starting, because it's very overwhelming. You're looking at all this clutter, but then as you went through half of it, you're like, oh, I feel better. It's the same with clearing your computer. Like what I said, I once I had to close my group because I had to clear things that I didn't feel like they were the authentic group. And the reason actually why I closed my group was there was a lot of people that were not looking for what I was teaching, and I don't even know, like, over time they just join the group, you know. And in the beginning, everybody, don't feel bad, guys, if you don't know exactly who your ideal client is yet, because, you know, you need to figure it out, but it's something that you figure out as you talk to people. And, you know, it's a process. It's not like a aha and I know. I don't, but not for me anyway. It wasn't like
no, I
that.
agree
It took
completely.
time. It took time. So it's okay that you probably do have a lot of people who are, you know, incorrect for you, but it's also okay to let them go, because if you feel like they're incorrect for you, they probably are. And that's what I find, you know, when you have wrong people, and even those wrong people who engage with you, they're actually, I find that they're energy suckers too, even though they don't mean it, but because they're wrong and they're constantly there. So don't be afraid. My message is like, don't be afraid to cut the cords and let go and try and focus on things that inspire you.
I completely agree. You know, I don't know if you agree. I see a lot of parallels between the marketing, well, I'll say not niche, but marketing and dating and relationships.
Oh yes, love it. I love this. Let's talk about this.
Oh, you're like, okay, you know, this is going to be the longest podcast ever. 3 hours later,
we still have time, but I love it because I just exactly. I'm going to say something later.
If we go back to the direct pitch analogy, that's the equivalent of you're stood at the bar having a nice cocktail or whatever you drink, you know, with your little finger out like a classy lady that you are, sipping it, going, talking about classy things, no doubt. And you know, some bloke comes up to you in a bar and it's like, hi, I want to meet you about like 1 centimeter away from your face. And then you're like, excuse me? And he's like, I'm a really great guy and I would be a great catch for you. And I saw you and we could date and we could be great and I would be perfect for you. That's like you said with the direct pitching, you're going to go in, you're going to feel defensive. I don't care who you are. You're going to be like defensive. You're like, what does he want? I need to protect myself. I need to find out like who, even if you found him attractive, even if he seemed like a good cat, like actually I would normally find this guy attractive because he's in your face like this. You're like, I need
this is it. Even if it was your like absolute perfect match, if they're in your face, if they're so pushy and they're not giving you any private space, space,
right?
That's it.
So the problem that people have is because they're always pushing forward, trying to kind of get you to respond. You're then going to take a step back. If he took the time to take a step back, and if he just said something simple, like something that showed a tiny bit of awareness of a situation, like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I've made you feel uncomfortable. Let me take a step back. You know, I know I've made you feel weird there. I just wanted to meet you, but sorry, I went a bit too far." You'd probably be like, oh right, he's probably not a complete psychopath. You know, I'll give him a second
chance.
You know,
exactly.
I'm still suspicious, but I'll give him a second. You'd be like, okay, no. So you'd probably be like, oh, okay, no, it's
only
okay.
With if there is a sense of humor involved in the
like if it was a lightheartedness. If he didn't come over like sweating buckets, being like nervous, like shaking like this, kind of like, oh my god, I've been plucking myself up to do this for the last 3 hours. You know, it's like if he just seemed like somewhat normal, somewhat like, oh, okay. No, you put like now most people aren't horrible people. They don't want to be like rejecting, and like a lot of the reason why I think like women can be, shall we say, bitches in that situation is because the guy won't take the hint unless you're really horrible to him. Then he goes away and he's like, why are these people so horrible? Same online. People keep on pushing this Forex thing onto him. I'm like, look, I'm really not interested, but thank you. And then they push it again. And then I'm like, can you just fuck off, block? And then they're like, why is everyone so horrible online? You know,
I know. It's actually so, it's exactly with selling and with pitching, with direct outreach, it's exactly the same as the dating situation. And, you know, whether you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, but you can imagine this thing. And it also, I find that it's also like, how fast can you progress in your prospecting line? Now, you're talking with a woman who got married in the first marriage after 2 weeks and also was engaged on the first date to my current husband.
Wow.
So I can move fast if I feel like it's the right thing to do. Yeah. Well, I waited 13 years to actually get married after the second time, but we were together from the first date. So what I'm saying is, you know, sometimes when it feels right, it can be, and momentarily, like it could be from the first conversation, you can start getting some sort of business arrangements very fast.
Exactly. Same thing. Yeah, I've signed up for 10K programs after speaking to someone for like 20 minutes, just because I thought, I like this offer. It makes sense. They talk to me like a normal person rather than some desperate marketing, cyborg. Okay, this seems good. Let's do it. But on the flip side of the coin is people who appear in my inbox trying to sell me like a $7 ebook, and I'm still like, no way. And so it's not necessarily the price of it. It's not necessarily the kind of the level of commitment that you're giving yourself to. It's just kind of about trust. And I think it's never been harder to get trust online than it is today because of all these people doing this kind of stuff. And we've all
That's so
signed up for
true.
these high ticket programs and offers and all kinds of stuff that promised the world and then didn't really deliver. And then that makes it harder for the next person who comes along. Same in the dating scene, a woman goes out with her first boyfriend at 16, let's say, and he's like completely, fresh and green and excited. Then he cheats on her with her best friend. And she's like, oh, right, that was a bit, I didn't like that. But then she kind of goes into it again. That happens like another 3 or 4 times. She gets a bit cynical and a bit like, okay, I'm going to be a bit more defensive. I'm going to protect myself now. I'm going to kind of feel this guy out. Same in marketing terms.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think if we can have a bit more empathy as marketers and understand when we approach people that they're not being horrible, but they're just suspicious and it takes longer to trust us, well, now you've got a chance, which again, I feel that I prefer my current strategy for that reason, because I can add someone as a friend. When I add them as a friend, I know they're going to click my profile. They can scroll through my post. There's no risk to them. I'm not kind of pressurizing them into a sale. It's them doing all the kind of the checking and they go, okay, I'll add him as a friend. Then over the course of the next month, might be longer, they're going to see my posts. And if they resonate with them, they'll see a post here that made them laugh. Another post where they see I've got 250 comments. Wow, people are responding to this guy. Another post where I taught them something that no one else was teaching them about, I don't know, how to write an engagement post or something. Then another post where I got a result for someone just like them. And they keep on seeing stuff like this over time. Then eventually they're like, do you know what? Even though I've signed up to a billion of these things before, maybe this guy can help me. I've had people who've come to me after saying, God, there was one guy I did a call with who didn't sign up. And he came back a year later. It was September 2018 to September 2019, I think it was. He's like, we did a call a year ago. I don't know if you remember, Richard, but I didn't sign up. It wasn't the right time, but I'd like to sign up with your program now. I've been following you since then. I've been like, okay, cool. And that's the way I want to do things. Some people take longer to trust. And rather than me knocking on the door saying, are you ready to open it now? It's like, no, I'll keep on putting this stuff out there. And when you're ready, you can come to me.
I read just a couple of days ago, I read these statistics that 80% of people who follow us will need 90 days or more to actually be ready to buy from us. And, I mentioned now about my marriages and everything, but guys, I've done so many pushbacks on dating and men wouldn't even approach me. They were so intimidated. And it's not a normal, I'm just talking about the right thing. So when you know it's the right time or right thing, it doesn't matter whether it was 5 minutes or 5 years, you're going to do it when it feels right for you. Right. So, but in order for it not to feel wrong, and you mentioned like a sweaty person coming up to you and like summoned their courage for 3 hours, there's this horrible, desperate, nervous energy. And I don't know what they need to possess or what the woman probably needs to feel like she's a savior or something, just like feel sorry for the guy. And that's where the conversation can happen. Most of the time it's just a complete no. And so when I am the same like you, I want to have relationships with my clients who are that are, I don't necessarily want to become their best friend, but every clients that I work with, there's always deep relationships. So I couldn't possibly be working with someone who is impersonal or kind of feels fake or feels weird to me. And I think it's important. There's one thing that people don't think deep enough is about the quality of people that will come to work to them and what it's going to do to them when the coaching session or whatever work you're delivered is finished and you've interacted with this person and what you're taking home, so to speak. The vibe, the energy, because if they're not a good match, it's going to affect, I don't know about you, but it affects me so badly if I work with people who are not a good match for me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I try and act all tough, but I'm kind of sensitive in some areas. Like if some dickhead is like, oh, you're an idiot or whatever, I don't care. But if someone's paid me money, there's 2 things that really bother me. If someone's paid me money, then they're not happy at the end. Then that really bothers me. And similarly, if I upset someone who I consider to be a good friend, that bothers me as well. But yeah, it's getting people in where you're going to enjoy working with them and they're going to listen to you and then go away and implement. I had a woman last year where it was the start of my new program, which is now what it's called the ecosystem. It still exists now. She was the first customer I signed up to it because I was so keen to get people in for the new program. I kind of pushed a bit too hard and I said, I'll tell you what, she was like, I'm not sure if I want to do this sort of selling on my personal feed thing. I was like, well, tell you what, why don't you give it a whirl? If you don't like it, it's a 6-week program. Give it a whirl. If you don't like it, I'll give you a refund. Now, this was my fault. I didn't define what giving it a whirl meant. In my head, that's like, watch the first video, I'll give you some help. You can try a couple of posts. If that doesn't work for you, then if you don't like it, we'll call it quits. Instead, this person went through my entire program, had hundreds of messages back and forth, voice notes and stuff, watched every video, came on every call, asked tons of questions, took hours and hours of my time, and got to the end and went, I've decided it's not for me. I want a refund. And I'm like, oh, that bothered me for about 4 or 5 days afterwards.
But that would bother you, because that would make you feel used, which actually exactly what.
Yeah, well, it did a bit, but it was helpful in a sense, in that it really kind of. I think there's a lot of people who will listen to this now who will logically understand what I'm saying and what you're saying as well. Like, yes, I don't want to sign up clients like that, but when the bills need paying, or when when you've not signed up a client for 3 months and someone comes in and wants to give you 5K or whatever, you're going to say yes. And it's only later on, 3 months later, when they ask you for a refund or they're really unhappy, and you might say, oh, well, I said no refunds, so no refunds, but they're really unhappy, and then you feel bad about it. And yes, you've still got the money, but the whole thing feels like bad, and you don't want to feel this way in your business. That's the time when you've had that slap in the face where you go, okay, I'm going to be more careful next time. And I'm not sure if there's any way to shortcut that. I don't know what you think, Julia. It's kind of getting that slap in the face is very, very instructive.
Well, first of all, people work with people, and slaps in the face will always happen. My problem with my experiences wasn't that my clients weren't happy or, were blaming me for not getting results or wanted their money back. It was literally that we were growing apart, and it was eating me inside, saying that my advice and what I can do for this person is not listened to. So we're growing apart, and there is just, the person become insensitive to what they're doing. And then whatever I am doing for them is kind of technical part that doesn't mean anything. There is no impact. And that killed me inside. And it's very difficult then to break. So my advice to you guys, there is no way that you can avoid and always have just perfect everything, because we can't when we are creating our, conversations, whether it's a call that you're taking or, you've messaged, you don't know, first of all, you don't know the person's integrity, like in your story with that lady. You don't know. It's something that will show later. But also watching out for red flags is so important, even when you're desperate for the money, watching out for the red flags. If you experience something in the past, for example, I've experienced the thing that when somebody is worried about investing into my program, and I can see that they're worried, and then I don't push them, but they made a decision, that insecurity doesn't go away. If they're worried about their program, they will either cut it short or they could pull out. I personally don't want to encourage anybody who's worried about their financial situation, say, well, right, you know what, you can push it and I can help you, because they don't trust themselves. So it doesn't matter what I'm going to give them. They are not going to get the results because they actually don't trust themselves. Most of the time, of course, there's an exception, but that's just my personal thing. So I'm trying to watch, and I've promised to myself that I don't care how much desperate I am for money. That doesn't happen because I'm connecting to people on a different level, but it doesn't matter. I do not want to work with people for the sake of the money, because it's going to bite me in such a horrible, vulnerable place that I will feel so bad, because relationships is important. Maybe it's because I'm an empath and an introvert and, I work one-on-one. And so there's deep relationships, but that's what business is. It's relationships, I think, especially in coaching.
I completely agree. I think people in general are sensitive and, don't like to hear bad things. Nobody likes to... I don't think there's many people out there. Everyone always goes on about all these scam coaches who are only out for the money, but I don't think there's many people like that. I think most people want to do a good job. And when you sign someone up who's wrong and then they're not happy, you feel bad about it. I've noticed, I think what you said just then was a great point about the people where you have to kind of convince them into signing up. It goes back to what I was saying before about wanting to get the right kind of people in and not being obsessed with the salesy side of going, okay, how can I overcome every objection? If someone's got a few questions about my program, like logistically about, okay, how's it going to work? How much time do I need? That kind of stuff. Brilliant. Obviously they need to know this stuff. But if someone's like, if I really have to work so hard to convince someone, I've noticed a correlation between that and having to convince them to do every little thing in the program because they have such a big fear blocks to get over with everything. Like, oh my God, you're asking me to make a post on my Facebook personal feed and all these people are going to see it. What if they don't like it? Then you're talking them down off the ledge off that. Then they do a sales call and you're talking them off the ledge. All the time, it's like, you feel like you're talking them not to quit, or, and it's like, I want people who are just going to get on with it and do it and get results. And then go, oh my God, Richard, this is brilliant. This is fantastic. And then tell all their friends. Those are the kind of people I want.
It was the massive shift in my business when I promised myself not to ever convince somebody or try and change their minds. And I took this, what you see is what you get. If I have to convince you that any of the things that I'm talking openly, that these are the strategies, if I have to convince you, you're the wrong person for me. I'm not going to spend that time. I can't like hypnotize you and take the fear away or anything. And it's going to hurt me as well. So I think that first, you know how they say, always everything starts from within. I truly, truly believe so. Yeah. So think about what life, you just said, like, how will my life look like? Do I want this? Do I want to get up and send 100 messages in the morning to somebody? Or shall I send 5 messages to somebody that I genuinely, acknowledge them as real human beings, see where this can take us, build a report like if you were to just spend some time in a pub or wherever your situation. But how does the conversation flow? Because if it doesn't flow in a normal chat, forget about business. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a question before I let you go.
Sure.
In short, but this is something that where I want people to go next is you're talking about the magic sauce. Sometimes a lot.
Yeah.
What is the magic sauce? How can what are the principles? Because I know that there is a really good link in the description to this show or in the show notes if you're listening to this as on a podcast, that you definitely should straight away go and avail what's on that page. I'm not going to reveal, but just let them, Richard, if you can just describe what to expect.
Yeah, so the link you mentioned obviously is a 20-minute video that goes into this in a lot more detail, and I'm obviously not going to take 20 minutes to explain it now because we've all got lives to go and lead instead. But the magic sauce is simply, well, what is it that you've got to offer in your business? Because pretty much everybody listening, there's going to have some sort of competitor who's offering the same thing as they are. You're a business coach, I'm a business coach, there's a billion other business coaches. Well, how do we stand out as business coaches? What do I offer that's different to what you offer? You've got your own set of skills, you've got your own things that you can offer a client, and I've got mine. And some people will be more suited to me than you. And your magic sauce is, how do you help people get the result in a way that's different to what everybody else does? Doesn't matter whether you're a fitness coach, spirituality coach, whatever. You've got your own method and your way of doing things can impart that wisdom, can get those results that other people can't. And I think the big mistake that people make is they're always looking for to copy systems. And I love systems. I love step 1, do this, step 2, do this or whatever. But when you're just trying to copy what other people are doing, like for example, there's a guy on, I saw posting yesterday who said, well, my strategy for content is I see what's working for other people, then I copy it and I put it in my own words. And I'm like, yes, I can see that works in terms of getting engagement, but all you're doing there is becoming a watered down version of other people. And you need to get to the point where you've got your own opinions and your own ideas and your own unique thoughts on the subject. So when you put stuff out there, people are like, do you know what? I haven't seen this before, or I haven't seen it explained like this, or this is completely new. That is what the magic sauce is, essentially.
Amazing. But you said one word that I find people that triggers fear in people. When you say to them, you need to get your own unique ideas, and they're like, oh my God, imposter syndrome. And, they get so scared. Yeah. But actually, it's really, again, all about trusting yourself, isn't it?
It is. I mean, to be honest, I think some people shouldn't be coaches. I'm not here to insult your audience, but some people shouldn't be coaches. You get these 19-year-old life coaches who've been to a Tony Robbins weekend seminar and they've walked on hot coals and got all inspired. And they're like, I'm going to be a life coach. Why don't you wait 20 or 30 years, and then be a life coach? But a lot of people, you're looking, if you're one of the people who's a life coach who's got 20, 30 years experience, well, just have a look around your industry. What are the other life coaches doing that annoys you? What kind of advice are you giving where you go, that is a load of crap. Okay, that does not work. Now, for example, a lot of people say, if you want to feel more confident about yourself so you can run a big successful business, write affirmations on the mirror in lipstick every morning or whatever. I am a strong, confident woman and I am successful. And it's like, No, me personally, I think that's a load of crap, because when you write stuff like that, your subconscious mind kicks in and goes, no, you're not, you're a loser, until you've actually
Exactly.
got evidence to prove it wrong. But, if you're a life coach who's looking at this stuff and go, I think affirmations are a load of crap, well, you could put content out that says, everyone says this about affirmations, and you might have tried this and you've not got any results. Here's why you've not got any results, and here's what to do instead. That's a technique I use a lot, called everyone else says the truth is X, but actually it's Y. All you've got to do is look at what everyone else is saying. What are some accepted wisdoms? Another one in online marketing is be authentic. I agree with be authentic, but that is not the only thing you need to be successful. Lots of people being authentic, making no money. Also, lots of people being completely fake and making lots of money. So that's not the thing that makes you money. That's just part of being a good person offering a good service. But again, these are the kind of things I talk about when everyone else on your feed is going, just be authentic and the money will come. And I'm like, you're writing that and I know you're making no money and you're just saying high level stuff and it doesn't mean anything. I actually say something different to that makes people go, well, no one else is saying this. And even if they disagree with me, it's still interesting. So if I'm more likely to read more of my stuff in future. So that's how kind of people can go about doing it. It's not about going, oh my God, I need to be like the best person who ever did this ever. It's more about, you've got your own experiences that you've built up over years of doing this, and you can talk about that rather than just copying what everyone else is saying, because that's the right thing to do.
So in a way, when you're saying you're unique, the unique, be different, be unique, it's actually really the unique combination of your opinions. Somebody in the world can have exactly the same opinion, that there's, it's okay. But the more we express what we actually think about a certain matter, that's what makes it unique. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight this, because I know that it could turn straight away into that limiting belief, and God knows it might cause another affirmation on the mirror or something that you will have to use, to get over it. But you don't need to get over it, because you don't need to overthink it. It's literally just, be confident in saying what you believe in.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and this brings up another thing in terms of fear, the fear of being judged and the fear of getting negative comments. Because when you say stuff like this and you say, everyone else is telling you this and it's a load of crap, well, guess what? The people who are saying this, who read that, they don't like it too much.
Yeah.
They don't like it, but you've just said what they've said is a load of crap. But basically, well, to be fair, most people aren't your ideal clients anyway. You'll end up unfriending them, which is good. You're thinning down your friend list into ideal clients. But yeah, you get that fear, because I know I can make a post that says, the way to success in business is to be authentic. And I know that I can make that, and I'm in my safe zone there. Nobody's going to disagree with me, because nobody's going to reply going, that's a load of bullshit, Richard. The answer to be successful in business is to be a massive fake like me. Nobody's going to say that. So you're not going to get any opposite views on that. So you're in your safe zone. It's like, no, you need to be a good person. You need to be kind, and it's like, nobody's disagreeing with this, but it makes it really beige and boring. And
yes, it does.
You've got to get to the point where you're not being controversial for the sake of it, but you've got to have some dissenting opinions. You've got to have something that's a little bit contentious. Otherwise, it's like you're just saying stuff that's like amounts to saying, hey, remember to keep on breathing if you want to stay alive. Well, I don't disagree with that, but who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. On this note, guys, if you want more of Richard, click on the link and go and watch that video. Absolutely worth it. There's not going to be any kind of like a super salesy pitch or anything. Actually, I think that Richard's one of the most authentic people that I've seen in marketing, and especially after that 20 minutes video. And I'm just laughing because you just gave out about the word authentic, and I called you that. But that's the truth, that's the truth. So thank you so much, Richard, for being my wonderful guest today. I thought that this chat was absolutely brilliant. And this is all about just being real and treating people, getting real in your business and in your marketing as well. And guys, I will see you next week on another episode of Show Up, Stand Out. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. Richard or myself will get back to you, and definitely go and click that link and check out Richard's Magic Sauce video. See you later. Bye.
Bye.